Welcome back, guys. So today we have to talk about the Polymega. I fought with myself about this one, but feel there are some things I want to address. I feel I need to address. So the Polymega, a supposed hybrid FPGA and emulation retro console, which we'll talk about in a moment, that aspect of it, went on pre-order just the other day. They have had tons of issues with the website, possibly due to overwhelming traffic because of demand, possible attacks to the site itself. Not 100% on that. They've been on top of this with these issues and communicating with everyone pretty well, I think. But even as of the recording, I actually get a notice saying the website is not safe to enter. And when entering, I simply get an error and cannot proceed. So I can't even really look at things. People were still able to get pre-orders in, but not everyone who was interested. These pre-orders, though, are actually more of a crowdfunding effort, as they need $500K to actually bring the project out. There's supposed to be reward tiers once the project exceeds the goal, but no specific information concerning this, other than that it's going to have new system functions, modules, more disk-based system support. That's the only, kind of vague stuff that has been said, no specifics. Now, I don't actually have an issue with how they want to do this pre-order or crowdfunding effort, actually. But what my issue is what are we actually getting here? When I first reported on this device months ago, it was touted as part FPGA, part emulation. Even at that time, that kind of sounded odd to me, but still interesting nonetheless. Now we have news that the system has gone through a revision just in time for those who are looking to pre-order. Some of this may sound great, but in actuality, to me, it's far from it. So, they've upgraded the CPU. We're now getting a dual-core Intel processor clocked at 3.2 gigahertz. They state that this will enable the system to be able to better handle more resource-demanding systems. But this comes at a cost. Yes, now we get SEGA Saturn, which I actually have an issue with that we will discuss in a moment. But we've lost the FPGA aspect of this device. They have removed FPGA from the base unit, and none of the launch modules will be FPGA based. No Super Nintendo, no Sega Genesis, no NES, no TurboGrafx 16 FPGA, no FPGA in the base unit that's used for the CD-based games. It's gone. But wait, there's actually hope after all. Famicom. Oh yes, Famicom. Famicom will be FPGA based, but it will only come out if the reward tier is met. Now I ask, why Famicom FPGA but no NES FPGA? I'm really unsure of this. It makes no sense to me. Now, what we have essentially is just a $250 emulation machine that supports several disk-based emulators. The modules will be around, I think they said $60, but they're just emulation add-ons. They do use the original carts and controller ports, but it's just emulation. They state some of these modules may be re-released later as FPGA mods. So then it's either wait it out or rebuy the more expensive modules in addition to having the emulation-based ones. With no clear timeline on this stuff, it just sounds odd to me. And with this, it really doesn't sound like much will happen here, as they also have stated third parties under licensing agreements can make FPGA modules for the system. Sounds like to me that they haven't got the FPGA thing figured out and are actually hoping others will figure it out for them and make agreements with them to produce the modules. This all, according to them, is what we wanted. I'm not sure who wanted this, but hey, whatever you want to spend your money on. But to even further fan the flames, we got news that in their pre-order launch video, they actually faked Sega Saturn gameplay footage. So if this was all for Sega Saturn, what the hell? According to them, this was all just a mistake that their little video editors had made when putting this video together. They put out this very nicely polished video to promote the pre-orders and the fact that Sega Saturn was added to the system. But they showcased Sega Rally footage from the arcade instead of actual Sega Saturn gameplay. Sega Saturn emulation has been very iffy, a very iffy thing over the years. Emulators that are currently available don't emulate the system anywhere close to 100%. And to even get to a percentage close to that, you have to have a decent PC. We lost FPGA in the base unit of the Polymega so we could play Saturn. Is that a fair trade-off? For some, maybe. But to me, I really don't like that aspect of it. We haven't seen much concerning Saturn other than this mistake footage. And I don't want to jump to conclusions, but maybe they didn't have Sega Saturn footage that was stage ready to show the world. So instead they used a placeholder instead. But if that was the case, they should have stated that. They were called out on this and they simply said it was a mistake and they will show Saturn footage at a later date. Now I know the website issues are something that they are tirelessly working on, but come on. A quick video posted to their social media pages and YouTube showcasing this exact game playing on their device would have rectified the issue while only taking them a few minutes of their time. But nope. Maybe they will, but as of now, nope. I'm not sure what I think of this device now. Originally, I was really getting pretty hyped, but now not so much. When I thought this was going to incorporate FPGA in the beginning, that sounded awesome. FPGA is the future of retro gaming in my opinion. Retro USB and analog have jumped into the FPGA game and provided some awesome ass systems. This to me just seems like an overhyped Retron 5 or Retro Freak. Take the abandoned CD emulation system, attach it to the Retron 5, and now you've got the Polymega. Boom. Well, not exactly, as out of the box, the Retron 5 supports more cartridge-based systems than the Polymega. That is until you spend the extra money for the modules. Now, I do like that the modules, include a controller in the style of the original. I like the overall look of the system itself. The user interface looked pretty cool. Being able to use original controllers from the original system's pretty sweet. Now, from what I have seen, they've removed Twitch support from the launch of the device. I thought that was also a selling point for those wanting to stream retro games fairly easily. But that feature has been delayed, not at launch now. They also have announced they will have a virtual console-esque game shop incorporated, later next year after the device launches. Cart-based games going to be going for $3.99. Disc-based games for $5.99. And you know what? I actually really like that idea, giving you a nice way to support the original developers of games, and paying them for it in a reasonable price. I think, $3.99, $5.99 is pretty damn reasonable. But, we will have to wait and see what companies jump aboard to put their games on the Polymega eShop. Is it just going to be, indie stuff? Is it, what is it actually going to be? Don't know yet. So I ask you, if you were interested in this device originally, now knowing what it actually is going to be, are you having doubts? I was seriously ready to drop for a pre-order, but after seeing all this, I decided I'm going to have to wait it out. I really don't need another device to emulate my games. Sure, the controller ports for the original controls is nice, but we also have options just the same on other devices. I don't want to outright call this system a scam because, in all honesty, I don't think it's a scam. I'm pretty sure it's going to launch everything, the way they're stating it. I really don't see an issue with that aspect of it. But we are definitely not getting what we originally thought it was, or the way they originally portrayed it. I'm unsure who this device is actually for now. Since it uses the original media to play the games, most people with collections have the original consoles to play their games and prefer to do so that way. People who just want to emulate, they don't typically collect as much. So why should anyone buy this? I'm sure there's a market of people who want an all-in-one system that consolidates everything they want to play into one unit. But if you're simply emulating, can't your PC already do this? Your Raspberry Pi, for the most part? Your Odroid? If this was an FPGA-based system like they originally stated, or, the original hybrid FPGA / emulation style they sold me on back when, I'd probably have a different opinion. But right now, with what I have seen and what I know, this is just how I feel, guys. So I really do appreciate you guys stopping in. Share your comments down below. Really curious to hear what people have to say about the Polymega. So smash that like button, subscribe, drop your comments, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace out, bye-bye, and boom!